everyone, Algelger the SideQuest Gamer here, and good news everyone, I finally reached 100 subscribers! Thanks to all of you for supporting my channel, and for the many of you who are continuing to build that number. And to mark this momentous occasion, today I'm not going to review a video game, no, but I will be reviewing something video game related, and rather than a game, why not just do an entire platform? The Game Boy Advance SP, everyone.
Now, the Game Boy Advance was a neat little handheld, released in 2001, and had all-time SNES classics like Donkey Kong Country, Final Fantasy 4-6, and Super Mario World on this handheld. Fans even called it the portable Super Nintendo, but let's not forget that the Game Boy Advance had some really great original titles in its library, like Mario Kart Super Circuit, Mega Man Zero, or Mario Luigi Superstar Saga. Believe it or not, the Game Boy Advance has 32-bit graphics, even though some of the games look like they're in 16 bits. But if you look at Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories for the Game Boy Advance, they have full motion video cutscenes that are CG. But that doesn't mean it's as powerful as the PlayStation 1, which also had 32-bit graphics. But it does show when you see the wide variety of colors and stuff in most of these Game Boy Advance titles. It also could explain why you can get an almost identical port of Rayman that was also on the PlayStation. However, even though I never got a Game Boy Advance when I was a kid, it is kind of part of my childhood. Let me explain. When I was a kid growing up, all I had was a Nintendo 64. I always wanted the GameCube and Game Boy Advance since a lot of my friends had it, but back then they were expensive. Well, at least to me. It wasn't until I was 15 when I finally got both platforms pretty cheap. I got the GameCube used for $20 plus $10 worth of PS2 games. And I got my Game Boy Advance SP for $30 plus shipping. Now, while the Game Boy Advance was innovational, it didn't have any front or back lighting, making it somewhat hard to see your game if you're not in ideal lighting conditions. The original was kind of bulky and I couldn't fit it in my pocket, but the Game Boy Advance SP I was able to fit into my pocket. The SP stands for Special, but I'd like to think it would stand for Super Portable, but that's just me. Now, believe it or not, there are actually two types of Game Boy Advance SPs, and the one I have is the ASG001 model. In other words, this is the one that has front lighting but no backlighting. The ASG101 has backlighting, and the way to tell the difference between both models is either the label on the bottom or look at the screen when it's off. If the screen has a gray tint when it's off, it's the front-lit model. If the screen is black when it's off, then it's the newer backlit model. Each model is great to own, but the game looks much better on the ASG101 backlit model, so if you're shopping for like a Game Boy Advance SP, check out that version. Plus the ASG001 kinda has like the front lighting makes it look like the games have a blue tint to it. It's just a minor nitpick, but it's very noticeable. The Game Boy Advance SP weighs 142 grams, had a reflective TFT color LCD screen, and a battery life of approximately 8 to 10 hours with the front light on. Yes, unlike the first Game Boy Advance model, the SP is the first Nintendo handheld to use a rechargeable battery. A rechargeable ion lithium battery to be more specific. Now, originally, the battery life of the Game Boy Advance SP could do 8 to 10 hours in one charge, but the years wore away the battery, so it's more like a 5 to 6 hour battery charge. But if you can find a replacement battery, you could probably get the longer life backs. But the rechargeable battery is very nice since your parents wouldn't have to constantly go to the store to buy new AA batteries, unlike the older model. However, there is one minor complaint I have about the Game Boy Advance SP. It doesn't have a headphone jack. I know it's kind of a whatever situation, but the original Game Boy had a headphone jack, so did the Game Boy Color, and even the original Game Boy Advance had a headphone jack. It's not that big of a deal, but there are some headphone users out there that may be disappointed. But the lack of a headphone jack can be very problematic if, say, you're on a long road trip to Grandma's house and your family is fighting over which road to take. Sorry, but you can't tune them out. You gotta listen to that. Now, as for games, The Game Boy Advance has its own great library, but like the original Game Boy Advance, the SP is also backwards compatible, expanding its library with the black and white Game Boy games and the Game Boy Color games, which is really nice. If you think about it, it's like getting 3 platforms for the price of 1, and with the SP's front or backlighting depending on which model you get, your Game Boy Color games will look even better. And you would even see the unseen colors of the black and white Game Boy games that you would only see on the Super Nintendo add-on, the Super Game Boy. So overall, the Game Boy Advance still holds up to this day in my opinion, and I highly recommend you get one on eBay or any used game outlet. Sure, you may be able to play Game Boy Advance games on a Nintendo DS or DS Lite, but the Game Boy Advance is the best way to go if you want to collect for 3 platforms. So collectors, get your Game Boy Advance today or sometime this week. You have to get this before the prices go up.
Thank you all so much for watching and subscribing. 100 subscribers down, and hopefully a lot more to go if people still like my channel. Cheers, my friends, and remember to stay awesome.